Brock, a couple weeks ago on Daily Faceoff, we had a piece just looking at Connor Bedard and soliciting opinions from various people in the fantasy sector of how early they'd be willing to take him in a redraft league next year before we know his team. And we had a range of picks. I think some people, I think the lowest was Shayna Goldman. It was 65th to 75th. I was 19th. I think, Steven, you were around that range. And Brock, you had the highest slot projected for Connor Bedard. I think it was 14th. So could you elaborate on that and why you're that confident in Bedard making a huge impact right away?
Yeah, obviously, I think it's a very loose ranking at this moment. Without knowing exactly where he's going, it's pretty much impossible to say. Depending where he lands, like he could go somewhere like Detroit and really maybe not play as many minutes as he could somewhere else if he ends up on the second line behind Larkin or something like that. So it really depends. But based on his absurd numbers in Regina, he projects for about 90 points next season on my rookie model. Connor McDavid really seems like the only comparable at this point since they put up nearly identical totals in juniors during their draft year. And in McDavid's rookie year, I had McDavid ranked 10th. He probably was going to live up to that ranking. He was on pace for 88 points before, obviously, the season-ending injury. And teams were scoring, on average, half a goal less per game over that time. So if McDavid was going to be at 88 points, I don't think it's crazy to argue that Bedard could get up to 90. And then if you look at the projections from this season, Bedard would end up around the 14th best skater. Obviously, you could argue a couple goalies could go before him, but without doing all the work of doing all my projections for next season, I think I could loosely rank him close to that spot. You're going to have guys like Jonathan Huberdeau who are going to crater and other guys that will rise. So in and around that spot, I think feels good. But again, where he lands is going to ultimately decide his value. If he ends up in Chicago with very limited quality around him, I think he's going to struggle a little bit more. But if he ends up in somewhere like Anaheim, where he could find himself on a line with Troy Terry, maybe Mason McTavish, they move him back to the wing, Columbus with Gaudreau and Patrick Laine perhaps, then those are spots where he could really thrive in year one. So right now, I'll loosely rank him around the early second round because the upside, I think, is tremendous. I don't want him going to anywhere else if he's going to have a huge year. I want him on my team.